welcome to today's webinar on a career in maritime, proudly hosted by Isle of Man Maritime. My name is Lee Clark and I am delighted to be your moderator for this discussion on the vast and diverse opportunities within the maritime industry. When we think about a career in maritime, many of us immediately picture life at sea. Well, that's certainly a crucial point. The industry offers a wide range of career paths, both on and offshore. Today, we'll hear from 4 professionals who have taken different routes within maritime, showing just how varied and rewarding this industry can be. Today, I'm joined by Isla Gale, a professional fisherwoman who has built her career in the fishing industry on the Isle of Man. Captain Byron Worley, a master mariner with extensive career at sea. Tom Hinks, from a maritime training school that prepares people for careers at sea and on shore. And Dr. Robin Pine, representing a university offering maritime-focused degree programs for shore-based careers. Each of our panelists has taken a unique journey into maritime, and today we'll learn about their past, the challenges they faced, and what advice they would have those considering a career in maritime. So today I'll start with Isla. Fishing is one of the world's oldest maritime professionals, yet it continues to evolve. Can you tell us a bit about your journey? So what inspired you to become a fisherwoman, and how did you get started in the industry?
So I got started really young at the age of 12, and I just did summers and weekends. And then when I was 15, I went into the trial trip with a man called Alan Woodbridge on the Shannon Kimberley, a Ramsey registered scallop boat, and I loved it. I fell in love with it and I thought, oh, this is for me. We did 3 weeks up the west coast of Scotland and I just loved it. And then he offered me an apprenticeship from the 3 weeks and he said, I'll teach you everything I know. So he was about late 50s at the time. He said, I'll teach you everything I know about the fishing and everything, all the information I can give you. So I snapped that up, I took it. And then, so I did all my schoolwork online. So I was going throughout the days and then doing the schoolwork online and just went back in for my exams. And once that was fully done, I just went full time, just because I was nipping in and out every few days, like a month, just to go back into school for stuff. But once I sat my exams, I went straight back to sea full time, and I just came back for things like prom and that, and I absolutely loved it. And then I worked with him right up until last year, where I decided to go do my class 2 fishing certificate, so I could move on to bigger boats. And I think fishing's like a bug. It's once you get it, you just can't let go of it. I'd love to, but unfortunately, I just love my job so much that I can't. And yeah, it's just everyone around me has really been inspiring, and working with such a good skipper and such a knowledgeable skipper has definitely helped me along the way.
Fantastic, and you know, is a challenging industry. I think we spoke before off camera, and so what were those challenges that you faced?
I think there's a lot of challenges that I faced coming in. I was very young when I first came in, and I was a girl, so they come with their own sets of challenges both, but I think I've definitely had the support of other fishermen as well to help push through them. And then also sometimes I haven't, and it has been hard, especially being a girl, and well, it's so male dominated. I'm the only girl on the island, and there's only a handful of us around, even England, Ireland, Wales, a lot. So to not have like a big support network was quite hard. You know, you could, in a normal job, you could probably go to other women in the office and be like, oh, this has happened, but I didn't have that. So I found that quite challenging, just to be thrown into a male-dominated environment all the time and have to kind of adjust to that, and also being so young as well, trying to figure it all out, also while going into quite a responsible role. Fishing's a very dangerous job, so it doesn't matter how old you are, you've got to make sure that you're safe and you're keeping everybody around you safe.
Yeah, because I think the official sort of statistic that's given is a 2% in the maritime world, let alone you're a very niche market.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could be a very... And what advice would you give a young woman that wants to get into your industry?
a young woman wanting to get in, I would say just do it. Just take the leap and do it. What I always say to people that ask me about it is, if you don't like it, it's not a problem. So if you try it and you go for a couple of days and you go, that isn't for me, nobody's going to be like, oh, God, why did you do that? But you might try it and you might love it. So my advice to anybody, even young ones starting, is give it a go, because you might fall in love with it and you might hate it. And if you hate it, that's completely fine. You know you've tried it. But people that go, oh, I've always wanted to try it. Just try it. There's no harm, no play. So, but you might actually do what I did, and I went and I absolutely fell in love with it. So if you don't give it a go, you'll never know.
And what was the training process like for you?
The training process was good for me. However, obviously you've got to get over the working in the fishing. There's no weekends off, there's no this off. It's full time, it's hard work, it's heavy weather, and you know you're outside working in that weather, so you're trying to work against the weather as well, and it is a very physical job as well. So I'd say you've got to be able to dig deep as well to just keep pushing. Like there has been times in the fishing where I've thought, oh, I'm knackered, I'm cold, I'm wet, I'm absolutely done, but you've just got to keep pushing. But once you keep pushing, you get past it, you feel like you've accomplished something at the end of the day. That's what I do love about my job. Even though it is physical, I can go home and at the end of the day and say that I've accomplished something. I've actually gone out and done that. So yeah, it's a good job to have. I do love it, but it does come with a big set of challenges.
Excellent, Isla. Thank you. We'll come back to you in a moment. So my next guest, we have Captain Byron Worley, a Master Mariner, is one of the highest qualifications in the industry. And reaching this level requires dedication and experience. So, Captain Byron, what drew you to a maritime career, and what steps did you take to become a Master Mariner?
So I think in my case, I'd say quite similar to a lot of people in some ways, but my dad he was in the Royal Navy as a diver. So I sort of always really wanted to go down that route, where ever since I was sort of little, that's the only career I'd ever imagined, was going to sea. I was quite focused on that's exactly what I wanted to do. Went through all the processes, went through all the interview stages to go into the Royal Navy as an officer, passed all the interview boards and things that they do. But then I just never got a date to go to the college there. All of a sudden it came to I'd finished my A-levels, it came to the sort of September, rolled into October, November, heard nothing. And then I just stumbled across the sort of Merchant Navy by accident. Even being just outside Liverpool, I hadn't really considered it at all as a career. Maybe because I was so focused on one side of it. But I hadn't focused on it at all. And yeah, I found it pretty much by accident, to be honest.
And what was the path that you took then? So
a little bit of, this would have been 2008, so still internet was around, I suppose, at that time. But found a careers day, went up to South Shields College, had a little look, spoke to quite a few different companies, thought, right, okay, yeah, it looks good, this, and then started a cadetship there that we pretty much picked who I wanted to go with at the time.
Yeah.
Went through, yeah, and then started my cadetship in the following September. So the cadetship, 3 years long, intersped with phases at sea, phases at college, and then qualified in July 2011.
Yeah, brilliant. And what's some of the key skills and qualities needed to be successful in your role?
So I think just being at sea in general, I always say it's the prime example of the jack of all trades sort of work, and being adaptable. That coupled with the ability to work as a team, I think teamwork is huge. Even more so than any sort of brilliant team ashore. We live together on board the ship. If you don't work as a team together, then everything just falls down. The whole atmosphere around it just doesn't work. So just that whole thing, being adaptable and teamwork.
And sort of an average day for you as a master?
So on board our ship, we have two captains who run, a day captain and a night captain, and we pretty much split it like that. So it'll be from the arrival in the morning into Douglas, the day captain will then take over until the arrival into Douglas in the evening time, and the night captain will take over. So we'll do roughly 12 hours, that sort of side there.
I suppose that's one of the sort of hidden gems to our industry. Certainly, I mean, you're more coastal, but it's sort of international as well, as that a lot of people don't realise that actually you work sort of half a year, you know, in aspects, and there's also that side of things. So, I mean, your personal life as well, are you able to adapt to that quite quickly?
Yeah. So there's various jobs and things, and talking with Isla before about her different roles and things. Mine is this time for time ratio, so I work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Instead, we actually get leave on top of that as well now. Before that, I did work deep sea, so they were longer trips, either 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off, or 16 weeks.
Yeah.
And then, like a lot of people do, I came to the sort of ferry industry when I had a young family. Came in the shorter trips away, but still into, like I say, a nice little chunk of time at home. And then I think that your family sort of plays into it as well. They've obviously got to be happy with it, but in the same vein, if they're brought up with that, that's all they sort of know as well. So it's norms, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, I think we also take this route in terms of being away when we're younger at deep sea. But then what I always found, we were always told that a career at sea was all. You had to be then Captain Smith with the grey beard, and that was your career. It's funny how, certainly within my experience, the last 15 years, 20 years, that all of a sudden the shoreside career opened up. And I mean, I was at sea and I stumbled on, you could work in the office. Actually, you could do quite a lot. And so it's been interesting, that sort of journey of us being at sea, then all of a sudden coming ashore has been an element. So, having worked at sea for many years, what is the one key lesson or experience that has shaped your career?
So I think the thing, and I feel like a broken record when I talk, because I talk about it all the time, but the biggest one, and it's the same for any industry, but I think more so at sea, it's the ability to build relationships with people. It's so key. And again, I touched on before, we live together as well, which is important, but it's the interspeed of the ship. Take the ferry, for example. We've such a big interaction with our shoreside department and all that. And it's the way that if you build a relationship with people shoreside, in the office, running the terminal, running the freight, running the passenger services. And like I said, relationships is such a broad word, but it's the ability to communicate with people and get along, build that relationship. It just builds the harmony into it. You'll notice that it's so much harder work if you can't build a good relationship with people. But yeah, I go on about this all the time at the moment and stuff, and it's just life just feels about, it's just about building different types of relationship with people, just to make sure everybody gets along.
Yeah,
you build that harmony and everything goes smoother. As soon as it breaks down a little bit, just work becomes so much harder.
And I also found that also just relationships in general within the maritime sector. I mean, we always talk about maritime being one of the biggest, but you said earlier on that you bumped into someone that we knew mutually. Yeah. There's all these connections, and always within maritime, I'm bumping into people that I haven't seen. And I was in the cruise industry for many years, and I still speak to them to this day because they, like you said, they become part of your extended family, really, because you're together for such a long time. You get to these relationships, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's similar to like you say about the maritime, is about knowing people. I always find, especially sort of seaborne and that sort of, because they're limited amount of colleges and that sort of stuff, you're never probably more than one person removed away from knowing somebody. And that's fairly worldwide a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I suppose that's the fishing industry, isn't it? You're such a close-knit community.
The fishing is just absolutely mental, that we are just, everybody is connected. Everybody knows, or they're friends with them. But it's also, it shows that if something does happen, whenever there's something that goes wrong in the fishing or someone needs something, I think it is shown that we are all close. But just I'd say the maritime industry in general, everybody's quite close because there is so much crossover. Like the fishermen going and working in ferries and stuff like that, everybody crosses over so much. It's great to have those strong connections with people.
And certainly now I'd like to bring in my guests online. I'm going to start with Tom, if that's okay. And sort of that now that Tom, you sort of focus on the career at the seaside, the training side of things. So in terms of, can you tell us about the training programs your institution offers and who are they designed for?
Yeah, absolutely. So our company is Seascope Maritime Training. Our headquarters are based in Liverpool. We specialise in providing STCW training. Obviously, STCW stands for Standards of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping. But in a nutshell, it's the entry-level mandatory safety training most seafarers have to work away commercially away at sea. So the training we offer, it's for maybe new people entering the industry, but also for any current seafarers who may need some refresher training and some advanced and upskill training too.
And I suppose at the moment, what are you sort of focusing on? I mean, in terms of the wide scope of training, it's fishing. Is it super yachts? It's such a open conversation, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Reiterating obviously what Ireland and Byron both said, people really underestimate and don't realise how big the maritime industry actually is and what it covers. It's not just a ferry, it's not just a fishing boat, it's not just a cruise ship. It covers a lot of the worldwide, the global market. It's a massive industry. So the training that we offer actually enables people to apply for vessels on basically any type of vessels worldwide. So whether that is a ferry ship, a fishing vessel, a cruise ship, as niche as the super yacht industry, work vessels, transfer vessels that are now supporting the new emerging green global wind organisation industry too. So it does cover a wide range of roles and accessibilities into the industry, but it does all start with the mandatory STCW training.
And when we're talking about that, can you give us just sort of a broad overview of what actually you would come away with when we come to your institution?
Yeah, absolutely. So it tends to be a 5-day course. It starts on a Monday, finishes on a Friday. So it's only 5 days in duration, and it covers a wide range of topics. It's all designed for individuals to have some kind of knowledge and understanding if, God forbid, an emergency does take place away at sea. So it's broken down into 5 main elements. So it starts with fire prevention and firefighting. So if a fire was to occur on board a vessel, you don't always have the luxury of having the fire brigade close by unless you're in a port. So if you're away at sea and a fire breaks out, everyone's expected to have some knowledge on the prevention of it initially. But if it does break out, how to act with it, how to deal with it, different procedures and techniques to do that. So the students will have normally like a day and a half of theory, learning about the science of fire, the ABCs of fire. Then they spend a full day doing practical training. So they'll start with doing basic extinguisher training, different types of oil, and the liquid fires, fuel fires that may come across and working away at sea. And that then advances then to doing some live search and rescues in a fire simulator that replicates inside the vessel. And we use live fire, so they'll go in teams of 2 and 3 and do some search and rescues, but then encounter a live Class A wood burning fire that they have to deal with the hoses, wearing the BA sets. So it's quite realistic, it's quite intense, but it's really does prepare them for that. Hopefully, they don't encounter, but for that emergency. The other elements of the course, you have sea survival. So if the ship, we teach them how to, firstly uh, leave the vessel safely, and different procedures of launching life rafts, life saving, helping others who are in the same situation, dealing with actually being inside the life raft and utilising that if you do find yourself in that situation. Other elements such as elementary first aid, PSSR, and security awareness. So it's quite a wide, broad scope, different modules that they do in 5 days.
Again, so that's sort of bright, and that really encompasses fishing, commercial, super yachts. I mean, it's amazing how those 5 certificates or the STCWs can really bolster your career within maritime. I mean, did you enjoy your time with the STCWs?
Yeah, well, the sort of once you do your phase, your initial phase at college and stuff, they're the last thing you do before you go to sea. It's sort of like they're preparing you for the basics to go to sea. But yeah, it's always just a good introduction to things, and then building on that when you're on board the ship.
And the same in the fishing industry?
I got my sea survival first before I went to sea. I'd been at sea just like when I was younger, but just for the weekends thing. Then I did my sea survival, and then you try to do your basics pretty much as soon as possible. Because all the other training that you get for the fishing is on board. It's quite like a learn on the job type of training, but the 5 basics are the ones you need to. If you're looking for a job in the fishing and you've got the 5 basics, that's a big thumbs up from any skipper looking.
And Tom, sort of my final question: how do you see maritime training evolving with the changing needs of our industry?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a great current topic at the moment within the industry. Obviously, you do have the mandatory safety elements, which we've just touched on then, that you have to have. They're kind of set in stone through the STCW Convention and the IMO. And obviously we're approved by the MCA, the Maritime Coast Guard Agency. So you do have to deliver a set criteria for training. However, I think ourselves as a company and other professionals do need to acknowledge that the world's changing, the maritime industry is changing. We're looking at obviously trying to kind of embrace the technologies. I think it's important for seafarers to get up to speed and learn as much as they can about ever-changing technologies. So we're looking to move some of our training online to online platforms, so it makes it a bit more flexible and accessible for seafarers. We're now experimenting with VR and AR training equipment, just to obviously try and provide some kind of like a safe training area for maybe more complex situations. But feedback from companies is they do like it, although it's not mandatory and it's not a necessity. It is being looked upon as a useful tool as we move into like modern more modern areas. A big thing we're looking at as well, it's probably a little bit down the line, but maybe like if Robin and Isla could comment as well, is we believe going forward, seafarers need to have a good grasp on digital skills such as data analysis. The way the world's heading at the moment, there's no reason why seafarers won't be looked upon or required to be able to read kind of data analysis to help them make informed decisions. So we're looking at, as a training company, is there any kinds of courses that we can look at or any guidances that we can implement to help them? And all it is just to make sure that they're equipped with the best skills to give them the best possible career options moving forward. I think another big area of focus as well is mental health. I think everyone will agree that sometimes the maritime industry can be a little bit laggard and a bit behind in certain areas. We believe mental health should be a good focal point. There is mental health awareness courses out there online. Some companies are doing more maritime specifically, which is great. Our little question would be, when they do open the books to change maybe some of the mandatory elements of STCW, is there room that they incorporate mental health, such as elements such as PSSR? We're a firm believer that this is something that they need to look at too.
I mean, it is absolutely brilliant. You're absolutely right in terms of the digital side. I mean, you actually brought me on the bridge of the Manxman, your vessel, and my initial reaction is there's no way that I could have walked on board that vessel coming from the RMS St. Helena that was built in 1990. How just it's changed so rapidly, hasn't it?
Yeah. No, it's huge now. But I think it just incorporates with the way of life and things, like you just take the Manxman's Bridge as opposed to even the Ben McCree's one. Everything's now more screen-based, touch screen-based as well, rather than, and it's the same when you look in your car. Car companies are going away from dials and buttons and things. It's all to touch screens. I mean, arguably, there's a cost reason for that sort of side of it as well. But it's fitting in. The maritime industry usually lags behind the rest of technology by a good way, but Manxman in some ways is sort of bridging that gap.
And certainly ship design as well. It's all going into that digital realm, that how we operate things. So finally, but not least, I'd like to welcome Dr. Robin, representing a university that offers maritime course focused for onshore careers. And I think this is what we were just talking about earlier on, Dr. Robin, was that when I was at sea, we were never told to go into university and get a degree, and I think it's such an absolutely fantastic opportunity for anyone within the maritime sector to get into different roles, different fields of exploration. I think it's fantastic. So first of all, welcome. And what types of maritime related degree programs does the university offer, and what career paths do they lead to?
Well, thank you very much, Lee, and to the rest of the panel. It's been very interesting listening to the discussion so far. So I represent Liverpool John Moores University, and in response to your question about the courses we offer both engineering programs as well as courses in business and management. So Liverpool John Moores University started out as an educational establishment for engineers over 200 years ago, back in the 1800s, 1823 to be precise, and we became England's first formally established nautical college in 1852. Today, as you rightly pointed out, we do focus on courses that primarily prepare those in the maritime industry for careers ashore, and those who are in the maritime industry, provide them with opportunities for career progression and to come back and perhaps study with us during their journey. So for undergraduates, the specific courses that we have specific to maritime, so we have our Bachelor of Engineering in Marine and Mechanical Engineering, and we also offer a number of undergraduate programs in broader business and management subject areas. For postgraduate students, often those that have a few years experience in the maritime industry, we offer full-time master's programs. Now, those full-time master's programs cover a range of subjects, so I'm just going to list out 5 different programs now that we offer here. So the first one is Maritime Operations Management, the second is Port Management, and the third in that suite of programs is International Transport, Trade and Logistics. We've recently added 2 new programs to our master's suite, which include Maritime Energy Efficiency and, last but not least, Geology. These programs for undergraduates would potentially lead to entry-level careers in the marine engineering sector, which is vast in itself, and those that perhaps are coming in to do broader business and management programs who can draw on some of our specialist provision and specialist supervision in their projects from our maritime team, maybe going into roles with ship management companies. Becoming a ship broker is a very popular career within the shore side, and there's also the option to focus on the legal side of the industry. So there are careers in marine insurance that require individuals to have very specific knowledge about a very specific area and how the law is applied in the maritime industry. We do also have a part-time provision, that's postgraduate, and we offer a master's programme in sustainable maritime operations that students are able to study part-time by distance learning as well.
I think that's fantastic, because I think one of the things I've always noticed is that you've sort of closed the loop. I've always stood by that seafarers, we're good at what we're doing. We're good at being at sea and training. But it's always been the management side that I think I even struggled with, that management side of, we're taught to be a very good ship handler or an operator, but that management side's always been missing. And I think it's only been in the recent years that the Helm course has come in, but I still don't think it really reaches the point where it teaches us to be good leaders, I think, within our industry. Is that a good sort of point or synopsis there?
Absolutely, Lee. So I took part in a 4-year project that finished last year, and this involved 8 countries around the continent of Europe, including the UK, and some of our training establishments, and we were the university partner in that. And there was overwhelming evidence to suggest that meeting the minimum standards that are set for the international industry, and meeting minimum standards for maritime education and training is not enough. We are very much advocates of professionalisation for seafarers, and recognition of the learning that they may have done, and bringing that learning into an academic sphere to give those additional transferable skills. So that was a great project. Colleagues in the panel may be interested to look that one up. That was a European project called Skill C, and we're now working on legacy projects related to that. So engaging with industry bodies, engaging with industry here in the northwest of the UK and nationally, as well as in continental Europe and beyond, through our membership of the International Association of Maritime Universities, to focus on those transferable skills. And learning is a lifelong journey. Lifelong learning is about learning by doing, experiential learning, formal learning, and then investing in your professional and personal development by engaging with further study when the opportunity arises.
And I suppose that's certainly within the C side of it, that you start off as a cadet, then you're going to chief mate, and then you're going to master, and you're yourself having to evolve all your training all the time. Just a quick question in the fishing industry, do you do management courses?
No, we don't. So we just have like basic tickets, and then you do your basic 5, then you have your 16.5 ticket, then you've got your class 2 and your class 1, and then you go up into more the merchant tickets. But for management, we don't, but I definitely think that it would be a good idea for them.
Well, there we go. There's a top tip there for us. Just sort of carrying on then, how do these programs prepare students for careers in the maritime industry without necessarily going to sea?
Thank you, Lee, for that question. So the programs that we offer are accredited by recognised awarding bodies. So that's how we sort of assure that they meet ongoing industry standards that are being changed as needs move on. So the industry body that we work with, our professional accrediting body, is the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers. Now, that sounds as though all of our students go on to become shipbrokers. It's not the case. The Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers just happens to be the main body that accredits education programs in this area that are not intended for seagoing personnel. So they're not referred to as those STCW programs that for seagoing personnel. So we work with the ICS, and their syllabus covers numerous areas like ship operations and management, how to manage chartering transactions, how to focus on areas like ports and port agency, as well as logistics and multimodal transport. It also covers wider areas like offshore and support, as well as coming back to shipping law, marine insurance, and shipping finance. So we offer modules that are accredited and based on those syllabi, and then are informed by the research that we do here. So universities are a hotbed of not only teaching but research, and our teaching is research informed, and we get students involved in their own research, of course, through whether it's their bachelor's dissertation, their final year project, or whether it's through their master's dissertation and their master's thesis, or their master's project, as it may be referred to. And also we give them opportunities to do industry consultancy projects, as well as internships. Here in the Northwest, we have Mersey Maritime. I know on the Isle of Man, you have Isle of Man Maritime, and of course across on the other coast, we have Humber Marine and Renewables, and we all work together very closely, which is why I was very happy to participate in this webinar today, to feed into continually updating and making sure that syllabus is about the content that needs to be in there, as well as developing those transversal skills. So I was a little bit jealous that I didn't get asked the question about what the future might be, but I will sort of comment on it from my perspective to some extent as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you want to make a comment on that, because I suppose we're talking about careers in maritime, the audience are looking at a possibility. What does the future hold for maritime within an academia sort of viewpoint?
Yeah, so we all know that everything around the world is rapidly changing. It's moving at a rate that we've never seen before. But the great thing is that we know that this industry is dynamic. We know that we know it's fascinating. We know that you can go to sea via cadetship, but that's not the only way to get into the industry and work in this industry. So we know that the future skills are going to require people to have strong ability to carry out real-time diagnostic analysis of data, and that will most likely be remote. So that brings in the need for people to have those data analysis skills, and also the fact that we're going to be looking at aspects of remote operation brings in more diversity to our industry. Currently, some people may be restricted from a career at sea, but in the future we will see vessel operators working in a more hybrid way, and that brings in the ability for more people to work in that sector. Women, for example, we can go to sea, but there are some challenges with raising a family, biological challenges that require us to be there at certain points, of course, but also talking about people with seen and unseen disabilities. That future of the industry is very exciting, and what it can bring. We're also expecting people to have a high level of skills in automation oversight, so skills relating to computer science, programming. Don't have to be experts in those areas, but needing to be able to work with cyber physical systems and to be able to coordinate those systems. So we're already looking here at our syllabus at LJMU and what we will be looking to offer in the future. So we'll be bringing online courses in areas related to maritime technology very soon, and that's to meet that future need.
I mean, it really is exciting in terms of when we were kids, we were told to stop playing with video games and
stop staring out of the window as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a career staring out of a window.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's sort of really exciting for people just entering the career. So I'm going to open up this question just to sort of wrap everything up. I know I haven't pre-warned you, but what is the one thing that you would advise someone that is looking to join the maritime sector? Byron, do you want to just sort of kick us off? What would be that one piece of advice?
Just be open to anything. Just be open to having a look into different industries. I think the big one that I sort of tell people at the moment, and again we've talked with Isla about it before, but she's talking about different career opportunities, is don't get focused on the money side of things, especially early on in your career. Granted, we all need money. Money does come into things, but particularly in the early part of your career, just look to chase experiences and what you can gain, and be selfish in your own career in that part of it, of see what you can get out of it for your own self thing. But yeah, definitely just focus on the sort of the journey, and without trying to sound too philosophical, go on the journey and what you can get out of things and the experience, rather than trying to chase the money too early, too soon. Because once you get into the industry, and like you say, as you start to develop further up, your skills come in, that side of it falls into place anyway. You'll get paid your worth as you go through. So create your worth earlier on in your career when you don't have the sort of family and mortgages and that sort of thing at home. Yeah. That's probably mine.
Isla?
Just one piece of advice is hard, but I think stick at it, and just keep looking for opportunities. If you go to sea and you go fishing and you think, oh, I love it, but I'm not a fan of this or I'm not a fan of that, just keep going, because every type of fishing is different. And one thing that I'd like to mention is that there's a lot of shoreside based work with fishing as well. A lot of people just see that the fishermen going to sea, but there's also a lot behind the scenes, like welding jobs, landing jobs, in the factory, in the office in the factory. There's so much that you just don't know. And then different fishing around the UK even is just all so different. So if you go to sea and you think, oh, I love fishing, but I don't love this part of it, just keep trying new things and just keep an open mind.
Brilliant. Tom, from your side?
Yeah, a bit of advice would be to anyone looking to get into this, just give it a go. It might look daunting and it might look hard to get into, but rest assured it's not. you can find a way into the industry, whether it be entry-level training courses that we offer and entry-level roles that we help with. But the big advice was just give it a go. You know, from as little as 1 week training with the STCW training, you can get yourself working away at sea, and then you can then look further afield, such as perfect example Byron and Isla, two great careers in different areas in maritime industry. That's what's accessible to people. But we've seen it ourselves, people who have worked in other areas or might be unemployed, they've had a bit of a loose end. They've come and seen what we do, they've done the training, we've even helped get them funding for that training. And it's been, some cases, been absolutely transformational. They've started a career, they've gone traveling different countries, they're earning a good amount of money in comparison to other industries and age groups. So our advice would just give it a go. It is possible.
And Dr. Robin?
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Lee. I would share my own experience to some extent and talk about my journey, really. And I share that, you know, I grew up in a port town of Dartmouth in Devon. I was brought up messing about in boats, canoeing, rowing, sailing. I was interested at the time in geography. I was fascinated by the world and what was out there. And I knew I wanted to engage in some kind of further or higher education, but I didn't know what to do. I really didn't know what to do. I wanted to get my education paid for. I wanted to be independent, but I didn't come from an affluent background, and I wanted to avoid getting into debt. We had the Royal Navy on our doorstep with the Officers' College there in Dartmouth, but I knew that wasn't really for me either. So I was sort of exploring resources in the careers library at my sixth form college at the time, and I sort of stumbled across it by accident. I sort of had a look in this little book, and I remember seeing it. It said about jobs that involve travel, being an air hostess or working on a cruise ship, and I thought, okay, who gets paid the most on a cruise ship? So I was like, oh, the captain does. I was like, right, how do you become a captain? So I applied for a cadetship, and I ended up having an interview and getting my cadetship with Trinity House back then. That was back in the late 1990s. And I remember one of the most memorable aspects of taking part in the interview was being told that they were looking for people to feed into the pipeline for young talent and the future workforce for the maritime industry in general. And that really made me feel sort of confident that I went into the room thinking, right, I'm going to do this, even though lots of people have told me not to do it. That made me even more determined. But I left with a sense that I was going into a much wider, more open-minded industry that also included a number of shoreside careers that were introduced to me during that interview for my cadetship. So there's a number of ways to get into the industry. You can go to university, you can do an apprenticeship, you can get some work experience, and then build up your qualifications bit by bit along the way. But there are numerous college courses and apprenticeships and degree programs to support young people getting into maritime.
Fantastic, thank you. I know one of the things I've also said that I've never looked back. I've always was very lucky to get into the industry. I actually started cleaning pots on the Seacat Isle of Man and the Lady of Man. And I've never looked back on my career and gone, I wish I never did this. I absolutely love, and I've done the seaside, I've done now the shore side, and I think it's, I absolutely love our industry, and I also love the diversity within our industry in terms of again, we spoke about fishing, commercial, shoreside, super yachts, the renewable. There's so much within our industry that we can. And again, it all starts, as Tom said, with those 5 basic certificates. It is, that entry level to getting in. But also, that's not the starting point, really. Now you can branch off within the university. And again, it's not about that career at sea. It's about a career in maritime. And it can take you absolutely everywhere. So thank you very much to all of our panelists for sharing their inspiring stories and valuable insights. It's clear that the maritime industry offers an incredible variety of careers, from working at sea to shore-based roles that keep the industry moving. For those watching, if you're interested in a career in maritime or want to learn more, we encourage you to explore the resources provided by Isle of Man Maritime, and feel free to connect with our social media at Isle of Man Maritime and watch for current events. Make sure you come and speak to us, find out what's possible, and we're more than welcome to help you. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you at the future events. Safe sailing and best of luck in your maritime careers. Thank you.